Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the It Isn't For Everyone show, where we bring you top performers, the top 1% people who are the best at what they do. On today's episode, we're going to teach you how to build a business from the ground up to even billionaire status. If you want to make six figures, seven figures, eight figures, nine, and even to the billionaire level, we're going to show you exactly how to do that and how we think about that. Because I got my boy, man. I got my boy, Daniel Martinez, co-founder of Hive Mind CRM. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. I don't know if I can follow that intro. I mean, I have a lot to live up to.
Look, I met Daniel. I think I tweeted out. I don't know if I tweeted or just put on Facebook. I said, I need a SaaS idea because these SaaS guys are killing the game. And for you guys who don't know what a SaaS is, it's a software as a service. And so then he reached out to me and said, hey, we got a SaaS with like, what do you want to know? What do you want to do? And that's what top performers do. They're always in the marketplace looking, talking, communicating, and figuring things out. And so let's just start off with an organic conversation. Daniel, tell you how you got rich. Tell them how you make your money.
I always like telling this because I used to be a truck driver back in the day. So very blue collar. Don't let the cowboy hat fool you. I used to load. I used to be a forklift operator even before that. I used to load trucks. I drive trucks. Still have my CDL. I used to drive 53-footers and doubles. So that's where I started, and then I got into. I was actually listening to a mutual friend of ours on Twitter, Charles Todd Billy, right here, Todd Millionaire,
Millie.
Todd Millionaire, Todd Billionaire. He's billionaire now,
Mhm.
right? And he's him and Wells Scott, Chris Johnson. They were talking about digital products,
Mhm.
and it kind of gave me the bug of digital products, digital projects, and what can you do with digital products. So I was already in the midst of starting my first business, which was a trucking business, because I already had a CDL, and I wanted to just a lot of people don't know what you want to do first, and I already had the skill set of CDL. I knew about the business, but didn't know nothing about business. So I had like a whole like through the ringer learning about business. That there's instead of you might know how to do the business, but there's a whole business aspect to the other side of it
Yeah.
that man, I went through the ringer on it. So I learned a lot through that transition. And then I was looking for a digital product. I got into real estate, and opportunity came up to start a SaaS company. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So
Yeah.
went from trucking to real estate to SaaS, and then now we're starting a fund in
Mhm.
the next 60 days.
Mhm.
So
Let's all right.
it's a long journey, but it's been 6 years in the making.
Mhm.
So no overnight successes here.
Yeah, so we're gonna get there because we're gonna get some sauce on how to take it to that level. And I didn't want to talk about this sauce, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna give people the information so they can escape the matrix. Um, but talk about which part of the business you started first, because when I first came in and you guys hired me to speak, and I was like, yo, this is a really great CRM. If you don't have a CRM, you're not even doing business. And
That's
if you
right.
need a great CRM, use HiveMind CRM, where you're able to send thousands of emails, you're able to do call drops, you're able to send texts and all of that stuff in one place. And I was just like, yo, this is amazing. This is a $1 billion idea. But then it came to find out it was a lead generator for a community that were doing real estate. Now, people, when they say you're in real estate, it could be just buying houses, it can be this. So, talk about how many ways you can make money in real estate, and then talk about what you guys do in real estate and what you teach in real estate.
So, my our niche is the land game, hence the cowboy hat and
Mhm.
the apparel I'm wearing. So, I really dig into the niche that way, and it's such a cool underrated niche in real estate. So, a lot of people talk about real estate, but there's so many like subsets and sub genres of real estate.
Yeah.
From most people think there's rentals, and the popular ones are rentals, single family,
Mhm.
property management, and
Airbnb.
multifamily, Airbnb,
Mhm.
which those are all subsets of real estate. But there's also like sub niches of financing. There's funds. There's land, commercial, triple net leases, all the like different type of storage, all these different like sub asset classes that go
Yeah.
into it. So like you can dive into any niche and kind of build your own following and learn the different how to underwrite a commercial deal, how to underwrite a single family deal, how to underwrite an Airbnb. Like you can choose like any niche in real estate, and there's so many of them. And I think a lot of people, they go down the agent route, which I've never been an agent. I don't recommend becoming an agent. But it's just one of those things like there's more opportunity out there than just becoming an agent.
Why do people become agents? It's like I guess before I knew what I knew from what you taught me in real estate, there's so many ways to make real estate, even if you don't have any money. Why do people just jump in to be an agent? I never really understood that.
A lot of people think it's the easiest path to progress. So everybody knows an agent.
Yeah.
I mean, like their cousin's an agent, my aunt's an agent.
Yeah.
Oh, you need an agent? I have my sister's an agent.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows an agent. You could probably think of 5 agents in your family, in your direct family and friends. So everybody knows an agent. So everybody thinks that's the way to get into real estate.
Yeah.
So everybody goes the agent route. You find a brokerage, you go take your test, you find a brokerage you can sign up with, and then you start listing houses or finding rentals or showing rentals. Like everybody thinks that's the only way to do it, but there's so many other ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many ways you can make money in real estate, investing, different stuff. And we're not bashing agents or anything. One of my friends is a millionaire as an agent, Adam. And Adam, I owe you money. I'm gonna pay you that money, brother. So talk about what you guys do in real estate, because I remember when I first met you, you kind of explained to me how you made money, but I realized like when you buy an asset, what makes it an asset is that it cash flows, right? So if you're gonna buy a property, it needs to cash flow. If you're gonna buy a business like I'm doing, it needs to cash flow. But I was like, land? How do you cash flow land? It's just a piece of land. So explain why you got into land, and how do you guys make land profitable?
It's just such a great question. So I kind of fell into land. Me and my partner Anthony, we took the same real estate course, which everybody like knocks courses and don't pay gurus for courses. Like that's how I got into the real estate game.
Learn.
That's how I learned. I mean, people will spend $10,000 on a degree, but they won't spend $200 on a course. Like go get a course. Even if it's bad, you'll learn something good or bad. You'll learn something from it. So I bought it. It was like $250 at the time. I bought a course from. He was 19-year-old at the time. I was 25. So I'm learning from somebody younger than me. Sometimes you gotta put your ego out of the way. But he was doing something that seemed to work out. So I'm like, let me take the course. So I took the course and I tried houses for months. I contracted a bunch of houses. A bunch of deals fell through. Just wouldn't work out. And I was networking with Anthony. Anthony's like, dude, just try land. And Anthony he took that course because he wanted to acquire land. Like he was looking for land. So that's why he found like the land niche. So he's like, just try land, see what happens. So I put out I wasn't as technical as I was then as far as like tech savvy, but I got a website up using a website builder, and I Googled how to use Google Ads on YouTube. And you learn like everything you need to know and want to know is on YouTube. You just got to learn the right keywords to search. It's a fact right there.
YouTube is your mother.
So I learned how to do Google Ads, the simplest form, never done it since, but I ran Google Ads for my website. Had a lady come in. She owned a property in Florida. I was living in Atlanta at the time. And she owned like a little 5,000 square foot lot, little tiny lot, worthless, pass by thousands of them if you live in Florida. There's everywhere, right? So she's like, I'm getting citations from the county because people are dumping on this vacant lot that I have. Can you help me out? I'm like, yeah, I think I can help you out. And mind you, this lead came in through PPC, which is pay-per-click ads through Google. She filled out a form on the website. I am not a sales guy.
Yeah.
5 years ago when I started real estate, I was not this person in front of the camera you see right now. 100%, I grew into this person. So this is the other thing. Don't put too much pressure on yourself early because you grow into new things, man. You grow, you evolve over time. So I emailed this lady like 15 times. We conversed. She's like, I kind of figured out what comps were back then. Like everybody knows about comps. You figure out comparable sales. I guess it was worth about $20,000. And when you learn real estate, as far as from that course, you find a undervalued asset and you sell it undervalued to somebody else and you make that spread. Yeah. So I guessed it was worth about $20,000. I'm like, if I can get this thing for $5,000, I know I can sell this thing for $12,000 to $15,000. And it's worth $20,000. So they're getting a $5,000 value. I mean, that's a huge value for them. Yeah. I should find a buyer quick. So I offered her $4,236.33. Just kind of made up a number, and that's what I learned off of some sales strategy on YouTube or something. You just make up a number and make an offer. And she said, she's like, "Can you just do 5,000?" And I'm like, yes, I can do 5,000.
That's that moment where you got to pretend. Like, I remember I got my first speaking gig for like $11,000, and they were like, "We're sorry, but our budget is 11,000. Is that okay with you?" And I was
I'll
like,
make it work.
"Give me a moment." You know what? Yeah, we could do that. Actually, we'll do 10.5 so you can have a little bit of room on your budget. But yeah, that's when you get that first deal, that always happens. But there's money out there, man, and people pay it.
Yeah. So she said he ate at 5,000. I'm like, all right. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace. I found a buyer in 2 weeks for 12. Never talked to the buyer, never talked to the seller, got a contract signed, sent it to escrow, and then I got a check 2 weeks later for $6,000 after closing costs. And then the rest has been evolution from there, just kind of evolving over time, finding different strategies to answer your second question as far as cash flowing land.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I like land as an asset class, and for everybody here, like I've been in the land space for 5 years. I have done like 0 house deals. I mean, I've done one house deal. I seller financed my house that I bought from my own mortgage, but that's another story. But
We'll get into seller's finance.
we'll get into seller finance. But yeah, so I had where was I going with this?
Cash flowing land.
Oh, cash flowing land. Okay, so we had a deal come about 2 years ago, and a guy, he wanted $15,000 for this lot. We thought it was about 30. So like, man, 50 cents on the dollar, $15,000 is a lot of money. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, that's 6 months to 8 months of salary for some people, you know. So my partner's like, nah, let him go. So we came back. He came back 90 days later, circled back, and he's like, I need $15,000. So my partner originally offered him 8. So he came back and he's like, you know what, I'll just take 8. So we offered him 8. And what we did was we put that deal on Basic Marketplace for $8,000 down, $500 a month for 5 years. So the $8,000 the buyer gave us, she gave that straight to the seller. Now we collect $500 a month on a vacant lot that worth $40,000. I mean, we never saw a lot. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. So land, it doesn't cash flow. People that own it usually own it free and clear. So there's a lot of equity in it.
Yeah.
And then people that have it, it's really hard to move and sell it because there's always like, if the property's worth $100,000, it's really hard to sell it for $100,000 because everybody wants a deal. If they come in cash buyers are coming to buy that thing for $40,000 or $50,000.
Yeah.
So if you can sell or finance it for 100% because the banks won't lend on it, and you become the bank, that's how you can sell and get your full asking price for your asset. So all we do is we find cheap property, we sell or finance it, and that's how we make cash flow land. We make land cash flow, and we just cut spreads on that, on the debt.
So when I came to speak at the Hive Mind annual event, the first one, before I went on stage, you said, "Come up to the room." I go in the room and there's deals happening in the room. And it's like, when you hear about deals, it's literally just people communicating money. Like, where can we send money so we can arbitrage money, blah, blah, blah. And someone was writing like a $50,000 check. And then Anthony, shout out Anthony, was like, "Look, that's a $50,000 check right there for a land deal that we're doing, and da-da-da, and this deal we're doing over here." So let's break down kind of the structure of these deals. If I'm someone who goes, all right, I just heard Daniel talk about making money, flipping land or cash flowing land. I don't have any money, but I want to jump in these deals. How can they do that, and how does it work? How do they find a buyer? How do they find a deal? And then how do they actually make it happen? Because it's really easy. It just sounds difficult, but it's easy, and it's just a numbers game.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
But you're making thousands of dollars.
It's a lot of work, though. It's a lot of work. A lot of people, I mean, the riches are made behind the work you got to do. And sometimes you got to work for hours and not make money. Like, for instance, it took me 7 months to get that deal with that land deal. 7 months.
Yeah.
I grinded. I had another business at the time. I worked that whole business, and then I was doing that on the side as a side hustle type thing. And it took me a long time to get that deal. And there's like, you get that proof of concept going, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things. So the basics, we're going to break this down to the ABC level for everybody to hear and understand. Leads are generated through marketing. You pull a list, you set up the type of marketing And marketing could be emails, text, a website like I did. It could be ringless voicemails. It could be a website. It could be word of mouth. It could be networking. It could be door knocking. It could be direct mail. It could be sending little postcards. I got one of my earlier leads I had. My wife had cardstock. I went and printed out the cardstock, cut it with the little paper cutter, and I put my own little stamp on it.
Yeah.
You know, that was something I did early on. Like I was using my wife cardstock because she was a crafter. She's a crafty person. So
And leads are just finding people who want to buy your stuff, or the people you need to.
people that want to sell their property.
People who want to sell their property is leads in this business.
Yep, in this business. So in every business, it's all about leads to conversions, conversions to reviews. Reviews will get you more leads.
It's all businesses.
That's all businesses' simplest form. So in real estate, you need a way to market to sellers, and then you bring in those leads. You have conversations with sellers. There's a guy in real estate. He says, "Talk to people." That's all you got to do. Talk to people. The business is all about having conversations. Talk to as many sellers as you can. Talk to agents. Right now, we're picking off deals off the MLS. Literally, we're not even talking to agents, sellers directly. We're picking off deals off the MLS. So you can literally call agents, but that they represent a seller. So just talk to people that have property, whether they're an agent or sellers. Have conversations, negotiate on price. Don't be afraid of asking for a lowball price. Some people have different motivations, and they'll say yes.
Yeah.
If you send them a postcard, there's a whole like niche of people in land investing that all they do is they look at the tax value. If it's $100,000, they send out 1,000 letters, offer letters to 1,000 properties that are $100,000 or less, and they just make a 20% offer.
Yeah.
And then they get contracts back. It's not very complicated. You just point and shoot and wait for it to come back. So you got to do the marketing, get conversions, have conversations with sellers, whether that's through direct mail or over the phone or through text.
Yeah.
However you're going to do that, and then get the contract, send it to escrow title company. The title company represents you, the buyer, and the seller in that transaction as an independent third party. And then you go find a buyer that's going to pay you more and piece it all together.
Yeah. So I'm new to this. I'm lead genning. There's two ways to get leads, either outbound or inbound, right? So outbound is all the, usually what you got to do, you don't have any money. You're calling, cold calling, you're texting, you're doing emails, which that's what I got really good at, was cold emails. Or you can do inbound. Sometimes inbound comes later because a lot of people have like, they don't want to seem like they're kind of faking it. They're like, I haven't done a deal, so I don't want to make YouTubes and social media posts about deals until I've done a deal. So usually inbound comes later. Then you get leads on the phone. When you get people on the phone, kind of, what do you say? You just say, hey, are you selling your property? What do you want to establish there usually?
So usually we're trying to get some type of pre-qualification before we can get on the phone. So if let's say for instance, we're sending direct mail or even email, they responded, they've voiced some type of, in some way, signaled to you that they want to sell their property.
Yeah.
Just like you do with your cold outreach.
Yeah.
Cold outreach, as soon as they respond, boom, hey, this is a lead. Now let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
So as soon as they respond back to your outbound marketing, then you have a conversation. Hey, how are you doing? What's your name?
Yeah.
Roy. Okay. Tell me a little about, some people that jump straight into the sales, like it's all based on your sales strategy, but a lot of it's just having a conversation. Can you tell me a little bit more about your situation? How'd you get the property? Oh, we've owned it for 100 years. This is my Aunt Billy Bob passed it down, and he had kids and goats, and this was originally a hay farm, and they jump down all these different things. And you just have a conversation. Yeah. It builds rapport with that seller, and then you ask them like, well, how much are you looking for this property? Well, the neighbor down the street sold their property for such and such, and we're just looking to get the same price. Well, I don't know if we can get that price. I mean, I can talk to the underwriting team, and you're never the decision maker, but let me see if we can get you that price. Right now, we're just having a conversation. How soon are you looking to close? Well, I'm not in no hurry to close. It's just something we just want to get transition on. I'm not getting any younger, and just have a conversation with them, and then you get a number out of them. Hey, if that works, negotiate down anyway, because you don't want to take them on their first offer, because they're gonna think they're leaving money on the table. So there's a lot of sales strategies that come to this. This is where like people that are originally from sales, like they're killers when they get into real estate, because they already know the sales strategy and conversation. They just need to learn about real estate. Yeah. So if you're already killing it in sales, So real estate is very easy for you. It's almost like second nature
Yeah.
because you
And
already have that training.
and sales sound like scary, but it really is just the way I reframe it is just you're having a communication with someone, right?
Yep.
And one thing I do, and when I get people on the phone, I just, shoot the shit for a second. Like,
Yep.
where do you live? And if they're on the East Coast, I'm like, sorry to hear that. You have bad weather. I'm in Cali. It's 80 degrees. Like, you shoot the shit.
Yep.
And then I just ask them the question based on their outcome. I'm like, hey, if we were having this conversation after we had a successful deal and you were looking back on that deal, what needs to be happen for you to be happy with the deal?
Yep.
And what happens is they're thinking about how much money they want to make, how the process is going to go to them. And they're telling you if it happened perfectly in their eyes, how would it happen? And then that's telling you, like, okay, this is what I need to do to make it look good for them so that they get a good deal, right?
Yep.
So they feel like they got a good deal. Also, when they're thinking about that, they are creating a future that has you in it. Because I said if we were having this conversation after. So they're basically saying yes when they answer the question. And then I just, whatever problems are there, you fix those problems. So that's sales, right? There's kind of three ways to make money in business. You have a service. This is like the service side. You could build this up to a six-figure level. Then you have digital products and physical products. So tell us about after you were doing that and started building that up, then where did business go? Did you go straight into the CRM? Did you build a community first? Kind of what happened next?
So after we did the land thing for a little bit, we had the opportunity for the CRM side, which is a SaaS product, and I was always looking for something a digital service, like I mentioned with Todd Billy and Well Squad, Chris Johnson. So I was always looking for something to amplify because I came out of that trucking business, which is a very physical product, physical service business.
Yeah,
I'm capped out based off of
it's not scalable.
it's not scalable. I can't replicate that because it's literally I have one truck, one trailer, one driver. If the driver calls in sick, guess who's not making money?
Exactly.
Neither of us.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something scalable and replicatable. So SaaS is huge when it comes to replication because you get the amplification of clients. Like I can have 100 clients today and 1,000 clients tomorrow, and the only thing that's going to affect is my customer service.
Yeah.
I have instant deliverability, instant capability to receive and deliver the product and services. I just may have a customer service delay from going from 100 clients today to 1,000 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and I can fix that problem quickly if it came in waves like that.
Yeah.
But with physical products, you have inventory, you have shipping, you have logistics, you have supply demand, Black Friday sale, you sell out.
Yeah.
Like there's this whole like ebb and flow of like digital products, and I've seen like Coco Goff, whatever they had like a whole brand thing that they branded her right after she won, and there was like $1 million of sales within like 30 minutes of that event,
Yeah.
and there was like a whole logistical like setup behind that was probably 50 to 100 people, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into physical products, and you have to really outlay expectations. And if you have a big product push or you go viral on social media, like you're out of business. So
Yeah.
there's certain things you could do where like if you have physical products, you sell out, start taking pre-orders for your next batch. Instead of just leaving it on like, hey, we're out of order, start taking pre-orders for your next batch. So you're already getting money collected and you start, hey, we're 6 weeks out, we'll start delivering as soon as we get it. But you have cash in hand. So there's ways to play the game if you have physical products or digital products, but digital products is scalable infinitely.
Yeah. So you made the SaaS. Then that was like a lead generator that created this huge community called the Hive Mind. And it's funny how you named it Hive Mind, and it's literally that's what it is. Kind of how did that happen? Did it organically happen? And talk about what is the Hive, what is Hive is Live, and what is this brand that you guys built?
So my partner had the idea for the Hive Mind. Like me, I'm the integrator. I just kind of make stuff happen. Like I mean, I can think of ideas, but I'm like, if he's gonna make the idea, let's run with it, you know. So he came up with the idea with the Hive Mind, and I'm like, it's a really cool name. A lot of like real estate products and services are like, oh, real estate this, real estate that, and I'm like, Hive Mind is just like, boom, it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Which is big brands are built like that, like Uber and Lyft and all these things. They're kind of synonymous, but they're keywordy with misspellings and all this stuff. But Hive Mind is just like, what is that?
Boom.
It drives curiosity when you hear it. So we kind of launched that, and the community side of it was like, hey, we have clients that come in that are similar to what we do because they're coming in off based off of what we do. Like let's do a community, let's do education, let's start helping people, teaching people the basics of we learned, the ABCs of steps that we went through. And then we just started doing like weekly education calls and teaching, and when you start teaching, you become a better coach.
Yeah.
And it like I didn't understand this when I first started doing it, but it sharpened my skills to speak. It sharpened my skills to educate. It sharpened my skills to be eloquent when I speak and to break things down easier. Because if you don't practice, you never have that ability to come across. So it made me a better like it rounded my edges where I was kind of rough coming into that. So I just started teaching, educating, and we've had some students kill it in the land game, pop off in different ways, and it's just weird. Like we've been the CRM business is going to be 3 years old in February of 2024. So it's just like 3 years. It's been so much has happened over the last 3 years. It's been amazing.
So much growth. So the service, you did it. Then you got the SaaS, which is it's digital product, but then now you got digital products teaching people how to do it. So talk about that, and then talk about some of the wins and people who are crushing it and land deals that you've taught, because there's infinite money out there. Really, it's just all coming down to doing the damn work.
So I want to jump to the Hive is Live. So the Hive is Live is where we would tell our community to come. So if you go to thehiveislive.com, there's a whole web page there, and there's a click to join Zoom button. Whenever we have calls, people join in the Zoom, and that's kind of how we organize it. We do an annual event. We did an event every year. So we did 3 years, three events. We just had our third annual event, and it's like a time to come together and have opportunity and exchange. And people you see online every day, you kind of shake hands with them, have dinner with them, take them out to lunch. A lot of cool stuff happens. But we've been recording those. So if you're interested in that, we sell that as a digital product. Thehiveislive.com. You can go to recordings. You can buy all 3 years of the events, and it's for $9.99, I think. But there's like over 30 hours of content from all our speakers. You can see Roy Red talk 2 years ago. It's there. You can check it out. It's pretty cool. But Hive is Live is dope. But the community is amazing, man. I have students that and when you coach after a long time, people just come and go. It's just the nature of things, the way of water per se. People just ebb and flow. Some people stay with you for a long time. Some people just they show up for a minute and then they're gone, and then like it's just weird. But I've had students come in, they've learned what we taught them, and they just disappeared. And I'm like, I don't know where that guy went. He comes back 6 months later. I just did 4 subdivides, and each one's like 6 figures. And I'm like,
dang.
What? Congratulations, my guy. Like, not even in the market we're in. Like, he's in Alabama doing his own thing. And I'm like, haven't seen the guy since, and he's just killing it. Like, people they learn it, go take action, and they just do amazing things. So like, it's hard to keep up with people like that sometimes, but we've seen people blow up through like CRM automation. I have a client, he was originally from New York, moved to Florida, and he joined the CRM. We're helping with his automations and stuff. He just got his 2 Comma Club award for hitting $1 million this year in 2023, and he's now teaching his own students how to do the Lang game, and it's just really cool to see. And I'm not taking credit for him. I mean, he did all the work. I kind of
sparked the brain,
sparked it. And I don't know how much I can take credit for that, but it's just cool to see. It's just cool to see him blow up. And he's doing amazing things now. He's not even a client of mine anymore, but I still, he posted in his stories. He's like, I got a story to tell. Who's got a podcast for me to tell? I'm like, I got a podcast. Let's hop on.
Come through.
So I was on his first podcast he was ever on was at mine, Hive with Us podcast. And it's always been a cool opportunity to like see people grow over time. And that was like 2 years ago. So from him going, what he's done in 2 years has just been amazing to see. I have a client, he found a 200-acre property. He actually is out there doing a bunch of stuff, yard work and stuff on it, but he's like, he might make $1 million on one land deal.
One deal.
I got another student, he's making like 350K on a land deal. His first land deal. He's from a multifamily space. I got another student. He's lending us money. He might make. He's a capital partner on one of our deals. I think we're paying him like $100,000 in like 60 days for being a capital partner on one of our deals, and that's something we're actively working right now. But it's just really cool to like students come in different shapes and forms and different skill sets, and they come already trained if you target the right students. And I have students like I have a student right now. He's working a multi-million-dollar deal, and he used to work at Costco. Like I got from people that are already high level to people that are low level, and they're just doing amazing things. I have it's just crazy.
You're good at documenting everything. Like even, and we'll go this next, but I want to talk about documenting and content. Because you gave me the information where it clicked for me, and then I was able to make my first $2 million acquisition of a business. But you document everything. Like everything you're saying, there's tweets out there, every single thing you've recorded, and your content game is serious. You got so much content out there. Talk about the importance of content and documenting, and it ain't easy. How do you guys keep up with that?
It's a part of the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of the system. So all our content is created in house, and it's I started creating content because I wanted to give something to my kids, because my kids are. I had my middle daughter just turned 4 2 days ago, and my oldest is turning 6 in December, and my youngest he's turning 3 in like a week. So all my kids are young. I can't have business conversations and conversations like this with them. So my whole thing is like, I don't know how I might die tomorrow, and this recording is out there. So my whole thing is I want to document myself right now at 31 to have these conversations as much as possible, because there's a physical digital footprint of me, whether it's I die tomorrow or I die 10 years from now.
It's there forever.
It's there forever. So my whole thing is like, if I'm going to record it, I might as well release it. If I'm going to release it, I'd rather give it to the world, because then you have the world is people can take that knowledge for whatever they want everywhere. And it is what it is. So it's not like the whole thing of becoming famous. It's more of a self-ego thing to record for my children, the knowledge I have today, you know? And I hope they can go through it and kind of skip through, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad if they follow me, if they start listening to all this stuff, because it's a lot. But maybe they skip through it and like, hey, this is Daniel from 2019. Yeah. Look at him. He's an idiot, you know?
That's what Pops was about back then, man.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's time stamped, it's dated, like everything's within there, and like they can skip through and like they can see like my growth. And like you ever see like a collage of like your parents when they were like babies to older, retired and married, and like you have that whole like in-depth picture of their life,
like how they
and what it represented.
Yeah. And like I go look at my old stuff and it was trash, man. I'm just like,
it was trash.
We were terrible.
Well, that's one of the things, like you have to start somewhere. And my content, you can go on Instagram. My content was trash. Yeah. It was. It means some of it still is, I'm sure, but in someone's eyes, you know. But beyond that, but like it's gotten better over time, and it's I hired people. I have a social media manager. I have editors. It's not longer on me to produce. I produce the content through the podcast and having conversations like this here at the studio, but it's no longer on me to edit it. It's no longer on me to create the graphics and the thumbnails and all this stuff. So now all I do is I do what I'm good at, which is producing content. And then there's a whole nother team behind me that, hey, they edit it, they produce the thumbnails, I schedule it, it gets pushed out, they put the bios and graphics and all this stuff, and then it just goes out. So now it's a machine.
All right, let's get saucy. You said to me one time, we were talking, and we're talking about like myths, and we're talking about how most people think you need money to make money. And you said to me, if you can't make money without money, then you can't make money with money, because you don't know business. You don't know a lot of the secrets. So let's dive into creative finance, right? And so you came to me one day and you said you could buy anything for no money. And I was like, well, how do you do that? You need money to buy. And I was like, well, and I already knew it because I, learned the M&A stuff. And you were like, you can buy businesses with no money. You can buy a jet plane with no money. You can buy real estate with no money. So let's talk about how someone with no money can buy anything they want if they can be creative in their thinking.
So
Give what you want to share.
everything is for sale. Money's fake, and everything is just zeros and ones and zeros and some
It's just numbers on
computer
a.
database.
It's just numbers. It's just
So
numbers.
whether you're buying a $100 thing online on Facebook Marketplace, hey, would you sell it to me in 10 equal payments for $10 a month? Like, you can be creative. Like, imagine. Okay, so here's for all the marketing people out there. If you're like, oh, I want to be a videographer, all right, you go find somebody that's selling their videographer equipment. Hey, I'll give you $500 now, and it might be worth thousands of dollars. So I'll give you $500 now, and I'll give you $500 a month till I pay it off. How are you gonna pay me back? Well, I got a videographer. I now got a job. I'm gonna get a website up, and I'm gonna start making money with this camera, and I'll give you $500 a month. That's how you can start a business with $500, and you can get $1,000 of equipment that way just by asking and negotiating. So everything is up for negotiation. A lot of people think you go to McDonald's and that's the price, and you pay the price every time. But in business, that's not the price. You can negotiate any point of negotiations, the terms, the cash, the down, what you're getting, what you're not getting. Like, everything's negotiable. It's not McDonald's. So you have the flexibility to ask for whatever you want in negotiation. So if you want a brand new car, well, who's got a car they don't want, and what are you going to negotiate for it? Are you going to trade for it? You got something they want that we're going to trade. One of the craziest things I love about like trading and like creative finance is that, have you ever heard about the paperclip story?
Nah.
So this is a story in the early 2000s. You can look it up. It's called the red paperclip story. And the guy traded a red paperclip to a house in like 2 years. And he just bartered. Hey, I have a red paperclip. What would you trade me? Well, I got this baseball card. All right, I'll trade you a baseball card. Hey, I got a baseball card. What would you trade me? And he went through like 200 trades, and he ended up trading for a house.
Wow.
Free and clear with a paperclip.
So it's just all about knowing how to negotiate, finding people, talking to people. So, for example, let's get tactical. Let's say you have $1 million house that you want to buy, right? And maybe you want to keep it, or maybe you want to cash flow it. If you're in business, maybe you want to buy things that cash flow. But let's say you just want $1 million house because it's nice, but you make maybe 100,000 a year or 80,000 a year. Like, you're like, I can't afford that $1 million house. How could someone get $1 million house creatively by being creative?
So, one, you got to market to them. So you got to know what people that have $1 million houses. So you can, if you've done enough research, if you're an entrepreneur, you figure it out.
Yeah.
So you find a list of people that have $1 million houses. You figure out people that have equity, and then you ask them, hey, would you seller finance me this house? And then you ask for your terms. If you talk to enough people, you're going to get a yes. So are you going to make enough phone calls and follow up with enough people to get that yes? And then that's what it's going to take. So you find, let's say, 1,000 people that have $1 million house that own it free and clear, and you just call them all, text them all, email them all, send them a postcard them all, happy birthday, Merry Christmas. Go knock on their door. Hey, my name's John. I'm actually in the neighborhood. I just stopped by. I'm actually looking for $1 million house, and just have that conversation and have a negotiation. I love this home. You mind if I get a tour? Like, like, I don't know. You can be creative however you want. And then, like, you negotiate for whatever you can afford. Yeah. Like, a lot of people think like, oh, you have to go off an amortization schedule. You have to get a, a loan or all these things. But the bank of seller finance, there's millions and billions of dollars of equity in properties that are just sitting there. Land, I think I always say this a lot, but land has the most equity in any asset class. But there's people that own homes that have equity, and they bought it for $200,000. Like here in California, they bought it for $200,000 20 years ago, and they paid it off 15 years ago, and now it's free and clear.
And most homes are paid off. I remember you explaining that to me. But explain seller's finance. Let's say I'm gonna go grab that $1 million house, and a seller's finance essentially is making the owner who owns it free and clear the bank.
The bank.
How does that work exactly?
You ask for the terms. So, hey, how much do you want for this property? Well, I want $1 million. What if I gave you 1.1?
Ooh. Oh, you're gonna give me more money than what I asked for. Okay.
Yeah. Let's start at 1.1. Well, what does 1.1 look like? Well, I'll give you $3,000 a month for, or however many months it takes to pay off, whether do 1.1 divided by 3,000 and you figure it out. And you just do the math. Hey, would you carry this property for 3,000 a month for 390 months?
Yeah.
Equal payment, 390 equal payments, whatever
And
that
then
is.
you're not paying any interest or anything because you're not getting the banks involved. You're just paying the person back. Now, but Daniel, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody sell me their house for monthly like that? Wouldn't they want the 1 million up front?
No, they always have a secondary partner that's involuntary, which is
Yes.
Uncle Sam. So Uncle Sam is they love when sellers get paid in cash.
Yeah.
They love it. They love when business owners get paid in cash.
That's what happens.
They love when sellers get paid in cash. They're like, oh man, I got my Uncle Sam got his hand in your right pocket, waiting for that check to hit the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So what you explain to the seller or the person who wants to sell their business is, hey, Uncle Sam, he's the person behind the curtain right here. He's waiting for you around the corner as soon as I hand you this check. Do you want to give him? You want to rip that check in a third, in a third or a fourth, and walk out that door, or do you want to seller finance it to me and you pay less capital gains? Yeah. Well, what does that look like? Let me talk to my CPA. Well, if you go to section 453, I just did this last night. So you go to IRS section 453, you learn about the installment sale, and you get a lower tax basis because you're taking long-term capital gains because it's unearned income.
Yeah. And that's just one way. One thing that looks like a problem in the market is a guy might want to sell his house for $1 million, but because interest rates are high, the people who want to buy his house can only get a loan for $700,000. So people can't buy his house. So his house is on the market on MLS for months, right?
Years.
Or years. And then you reach out to this guy and you say, hey, your house has been on this for this long. I know you want $1 million. I can give you that $1 million, but I dictate the terms. And that's exactly what I did. And you explained this to me because you can buy anything like this. You can buy a jet like this. You can buy anything, basically.
So Roy bought a business like this, a $2 million acquisition through Creative Finance. We bought in multi-million-dollar ranches through Creative Finance. And it's just having the sellers got equity and they're willing to take, they're wanting less tax basis and they're willing to carry the note. You don't know if you don't ask. Yeah. So I ask everybody, will you carry it?
Get.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't receive. It's a biblical statement. So I ask every seller, everybody I talk to, will you sell it? Well, I want $10 million. Will you seller finance it? Well, I want 20% down. Okay. Like, is that it?
We got you. And my thing was, and I think I stole it from you, is like, we'll pay you what you want, but we dictate the terms, right?
It's your price, my terms, or my terms and your price. Because then it comes down to we were talking about this in the car. He's like cash now is always worth more than cash later. So if you want $1 million for your property, I'm not going to write you a check for $1 million because $1 million is very, very expensive for me to borrow. Yeah. So we always explain like, hey, if I borrow $1 million for this ranch, it's going to cost me 1.2. Yeah. So I'm gonna if I'm gonna give you $1 million, I'm gonna need it for 600, just because the cost of money and the carrying cost of this. I mean, I'm an investor. Like we got money lenders, we have a lot of people involved. We have to pay our people, insurance, sales, all this stuff, marketing. We have to actually increase the value of this property to make money. I understand that. Well, I want you to make money. Okay. Well, I want to get you your price too. If you're at this price, let's give you your price. We'll give you 20, 30% down. We have a deal right now. We're working. It's a $3 million. I think it's like 150 acres. We're giving him 10% down, which is $300,000 down. He has a house on property worth $300,000. So we're going to cut the house off for $300,000, sell that, get our down payment back, and then he's going to carry the 2.7 at 0% for 5 years.
And it's just being creative, right? What are some other ways you can creative finance?
You can trade assets. You can ask for an option on. I mean, there's
pretty much anything you think of.
So if there's a little tidbit. So if you go buy the recording for our event, I talked about navigating the offer. So there's a lot of things you can offer sellers that are still make win-win scenarios, even if it's you have to understand the underlying value of it. So whether it's overpriced, fair market value, or underpriced. and you can still create a win-win scenario depending on where it fits. But you can only do certain things because you still have to make money on that property. So you either have to get the property at a cheap price or you get good terms. Good terms means you can create a profit on the yield of the spread of interest. So what we do is we get, like, for instance, that $3 million ranch, we're getting 0% for 5 years. What are we doing? We're selling it for 15 to 20 years. He's giving us a 30-year AM, which means it's spread across 30 years. So if you do a 360 divided by 270, it's $7,500 a month. So we're giving him $7,500 a month for 5 years, but we're selling that property for right around the same price that we're getting it for, but we're selling at 12% interest. Yeah. So there's a interest rate spread, which is, if you're familiar with hard money lenders, they make money off of interest rate spreads and debt spreads. So it's essentially a debt play, making money off the debt.
So how do you speed this up? So you're buying land deals, you're doing creative finance. Let's say you have a deal where you do need to pay some money. How are you getting that money? Are you using your money? Are you using OPM? How are you putting the money down or buying assets where you go, all right, we'll give them the money now, the amount of money that they want now?
100% OPM. You can build an amazing business with your own capital. It's just going to take you a long time. It's going to take you a long time.
Game dash.
It's going to take you a long time to do it. And no knocking to anybody that does it that way.
Yeah.
It's just going to take you a long time. So there's ways to accelerate that. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, but OPM is other people's money. Mm-hmm. It allows you to accelerate time and collapse time, where me and Roy, we're not getting any younger. Yeah. But we have the ability, by using OPM, to accelerate our trajectory of where we're going. Okay. So I always talk about this is, if you already know how to make money, start learning how to leverage OPM. And this, I was telling Chris in the car, every deal you've done, make a case study, because that's all experience points that you have to show anybody that wants to give you money, because there's billions and trillions of dollars out there looking for a place to go. Yeah. And they're looking for the right operator. And there's a lot of bad actors out there that are bad operators. So if you know you're a good operator, you're with good intent out there, that you have good intent that you're going to be a good operator of that capital, you have the ability to use OPM to grow your business to infinite scale and really make a difference in you and your family's trajectory.
Now, what are some of the OPMs out there, and what are your favorite ones?
OPM, it comes in different ways. So friends and
other
family.
People's money, by the way. That's what OPM stands for.
Yeah, OPM.
Growing with other people's money.
OPM, it usually comes from friends and family at first, just because friends and family are usually the ones that trust you the most. Yeah. And you have a relationship with them. I had my mom invested in a deal with us, and we gave her an ROI. My brothers haven't, but you get opportunities like that from friends and family. Mm-hmm. You ask around. I think even Bezos, he raised money from his parents to start Amazon. So you got to put your ego aside to, hey, I have this opportunity. And and everybody has that one person in the family, like, oh, he's a scam or whatever. He's a hustler. He's a wheel dealer or whatever. But I think that's a side conversation. But you got to put your ego aside and the embarrassment aside. You got to ask 1,000 people for money, and you may seem like a beggar, but money. People that have a lot of money are looking for a place to place it, because every day inflation chisels away at it. Yeah. I'll tell you the word.
Inflation's chisel. Like, if you have billions of dollars or hundreds of millions, inflation's killing you. So you're trying to figure out places to put your money so that you can make more and beat inflation. And so that's where that leads to the next question. Like you said, asking family for money. A lot of times you ask family first, because I want you to get in on this before I start this fund. I want you to have equity before we get 5, 10, 15 million. And that's where we'll go next, is what are some of the high level OPMs, and what are you guys planning to do to truly grow? And kind of, this is the game you gave me, because if I'm able to, my mentor told me, he said, if you make 2,000 cold calls, you'll buy $1 million business. And it was my 1900 email that came through. So then I went, boom, my lead measure, my input to get the output I want is outreach. Emails. And so I'm trying to figure out how to send as many emails as possible. But you gave me some sauce on how you can just focus on just that and get the money up front and start a fund. So talk about that, and then I'll have a follow-up question.
Yep. So when you first start out, I mean, you start out fundraising from people online. People are always looking to invest in other people. So if you never ask somebody for 10 grand, you're never gonna get 10 grand. So hey, I need 10 grand for this opportunity. Here's the layout. If you want to have a conversation, let me know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get over that. It was a struggle for me for starting out, but
Kiss
you,
the frog.
you got to kiss the frog, and you got to you got to own up to it. So right now, and we're starting a real estate fund, equity debt fund, and I was telling Roy about this because he didn't know this.
I didn't know it at all.
He
I
didn't
didn't
know
know it.
this.
And I'm Mr. Know It All.
He didn't know this. I was educating him about the fund space and how the high net worth individuals want to invest in good operators.
Yeah.
And us as a good operator, what's a good operator? Is anybody that knows how to make
Someone
money?
who's done it.
Someone who's done it, who has experience, who has a game plan, who has a scalable opportunity to invest that capital. Um, all these businesses that are around, they all came off of some type of investment.
Mhm.
That person did not build it by themselves over time. In most cases, there was some type of investment
Where do you think
made.
Warren Buffett got his money? He didn't just have it.
Yeah.
People
So
gave him that money to invest.
people give them that money to invest 100%. So you have the ability, people want to invest in the right vehicle. So high net worth individuals in that 7, 8, 9 figure range, even 10 figure range, they invest in funds. So what is a fund? Every major business was a fund at some point. They did a fundraise, venture capital, private equity,
Hedge fund.
hedge fund. They've all raised money in some type of way, shape, or form to get to the point where they're at. So a fund gives you the ability to create to reach the right people that have large capital stacks to invest in the right businesses and right operations that are going to produce good things in the marketplace. So a lot of people are creating funds to attack affordable housing. People are creating funds to attack the infrastructure problem in America.
Mhm.
Like you can create a fund for literally anything you want. I was telling Roy to create a fund about rolling up businesses because he's looking to acquire more businesses now that he acquired his first 7 figure business. Now he's looking to acquire more. Now he can go out there and raise money to essentially consolidate and do a roll up, which is the form of buying multiple businesses and selling it to another entity at a higher price or higher multiple.
When I had that goal to buy multiple businesses, and then I, got the first one on OPM, did a seller's note, which is seller's finance. I basically just emailed thousands of people. One emailed me back, said, "Sure, we're willing to sell, but we want to sell for 2 million. A lot of people don't want to give us that because we're burning off we have a high burn rate in this area." And I said, "I'll give you the 2 million, but can we dictate the terms?" Just like you taught me. He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, we'll do 0 down and then we'll pay you this much a month out of the business." So business making 90K, the note is 30K. I immediately start grossing the difference in between that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have control of the business, and he's managing the business until until he can make a certain part more profitable.
Yeah.
But it's the conversion rates on emails is hard because a lot of people don't understand seller's finance. It's doable, but I was just like, man, if I had 10 million, I can go out and buy 10 of these things, 20 of these things faster, right? And
Mhm.
roll up faster and then just give away some equity. And then that's when you broke down the fund to me. So, how are you guys implementing that in land, um, so that you can buy more land and build this hive mind to a bigger level as much as you could share?
Yeah. So the fund space, it's very not necessarily hush hush, but you can only mention certain things because it's SEC regulated. So I can't necessarily talk about like fund structure and what we're offering,
Mhm.
but I can tell you like the basics of like how you can set it up. And for instance, like you might raise money to acquire multiple businesses, and that's what your PPM is going to say. And you're going to use the debt to acquire equity in multiple businesses to eventually take full acquisition of them and then sell to a higher entities. And
Yeah.
that could be your whole strategy. With us with land, we're using our fund as a lender to invest in our opportunities that we already have. Currently, we have like 15 million under contract. It's crazy that we're working that's going to produce $7 million or so.
And that's
And
just the real estate side. We're not talking Hive Mind. We're not talking the digital products, but
yeah, this is just the real estate side. So a lot of that the fund is going to be our lender to buy and acquire these properties through seller financing and other creative buyer notes, by a lot of other opportunities that we have. So hopefully our fund will be the biggest. Hopefully we'll be the biggest land buyers out there in Texas and other opportunities. But essentially, we're using them as a lender. We hey, we like this property. We need you to help. The fund needs to help lend on this project. They put up the seed capital. We put a down payment just like a lender would. We put down a down payment. They supply the rest, and then we develop that property and sell it off.
speed.
Speed.
Speed. And it's, you did the hustle. You did all the hard stuff and the hustling stuff. So you know what you're doing now. So now with that fund, you can really just gobble up all of these businesses with the plan of selling later or
So
just cash flow 'em.
we are flippers. So we actually have a like a public facing brand called Texas Ranch Flippers. So just like house flippers, they buy, fix up, and remodel. We buy, subdivide, and sell. So that's our
The
motto.
land.
Is we're Texas Ranch Flippers.
Mhm. Now, let's say someone who invests in the fund, let's say you give them, you're going to give them a certain amount of equity, right? Um, the reason why this is so huge for your space and my space is the margins are crazy.
Mhm.
And so now when you get those margins, what you have to pay back in equity or pay back to the person who lended for to buy the property is like pennies compared to the margin because they just want maybe more than what they're losing in interest, right? So you did say you can structure the deal any way you want,
Mhm.
but what businesses or what type of businesses do you think is best for a fund?
It depends on and I'm like I said, I'm very new to this. We're starting our first fund, so maybe I'll have a better answer for you 6 months from
Mm,
now. But there's very different structures. Like I know I've been networking since we're in the midst of starting a fund. I've been networking with people that have funds, and some people do like a 70-30 split where any part of the profit they give 70 to the investors, 30 to the GP, which is the general partner, and then the LP gets the 70%.
70%, yeah.
I have a buddy of mine, he does a 90-10 split. Um, there's different types of splits and type of syndication models where they have the opportunity to invest in certain opportunities,
Mhm.
and they can choose what opportunity they want to invest in. Like there's a thousand different forms that there's crypto funds. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know nothing about crypto funds. I just know about the real estate ones and different type of equity splits you might do. But there's a lot of like different variations of this. And like I said, I'm not like the master of all these different types of them, but there's a lot of opportunity to even create this. I interviewed a guy on my podcast.
Mhm.
His fund is they regenerative farm land. So land that might have been a corn crop for 20 years now doesn't produce corn anymore because they sucked up all the nutrients
Soil, yeah.
from that corn uses. What they do is they regenerative farm that whole property and add nutrients and kind of cycle plants in there to replenish that corn um, product in the ground that was sucked up over all the years. So they bring back and restore the farmland, which that's amazing. I mean, there's so much infrastructure based off of farming and food and all the stuff that can really make a difference. So I think if you have a really big opportunity, you understand what you're doing, you can really make a difference in the world by using OPM, and you can make money at the same time and really make a difference in the world. And it's fighting against the Black Rocks and these big funds
Uh-oh.
that
Buzzword.
yeah, that do crazy things. So those big funds, they're buying up all the housing and rental properties, and the Gen Z is never going to own a home. Like all the stuff you hear in the news, like you get the opportunity to create whatever fund you want to attack whatever niche and skill set you already have
Mhm.
to make a difference in the world.
Yeah. It's basically just putting a super big engine behind
Yep.
whatever skill you have. Now, why do people go to Shark Tank or why do they give away so much equity? Um,
No.
Why do they do all this stuff? Why don't people know about funds, man? It's because they didn't go
I
to Harvard.
I mean, this is one of the things where like this is stuff touched at those Ivy League schools. I never attended Ivy League schools. I don't even have a college degree. But this is something that you learn through talking to high net worth individuals. You shortcut years of education. And me and Anthony talk about the collapsing time. You can collapse time through capital or knowledge. And what separates minorities as a whole from acquiring the knowledge that we have is because we were hindered by the information.
Yeah.
If we had the same information that other people had, we're able to grow and leverage that over generations. So tips and tricks that other sectors of so-called business people, or they pass that information to their friends and family, and it's just passed on in that sector, and they share information.
Yeah.
Where sometimes other certain groups don't.
Yeah. Once you get those data sets, man, like a lot of times you don't think things are possible. And like for me, I'll just think it's possible because I just like through God, anything's possible. But then when you get that data set, like, you mean to tell me I could start this fund? Is like you really go, oh, it's over now. It's like they let me in the room. I'm there now. I can really take over. What was a piece of information you got that made you go, I'm about to really take everything over?
It was the ability to really leverage OPM and other people's money, because a lot of people are scared of it. They're scared of failure, and I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs, like they hit that ceiling and they're like, I can't grow past the ceiling because I may never get back here
Yeah.
ever again if I fail. So there's a huge like fear of failure when you get to certain points, because us in our mental capacity, and like I don't know how long, like this is where like Warren Buffett, all he does is he buys, instead of one share, he buys 10 million shares. It's very easy for him to operate in that sector, in that space, because it's just zeros.
Yeah.
Whereas people like us, we're operators in physical business, we're operators in physical real estate. I won't be able to do this forever.
Yeah.
Like it'll take a toll on me mentally and physically. And there's only a mental capacity that you can take personally, that there's your limit, and you have to take self-care and time off and really focus on your mental health, because a lot of people, they have breaking points, and breaking points could be at phase 1 or phase 30. There's a breaking point for everybody.
Capacity. That was a quote. Michelle Welch said, "You might have the capability, but you might not have the capacity." I thought about that when you were saying that. So for the people who are listening, who maybe are neurotic about it, what gave you the confidence to move forward on stuff? Like, what is stopping people, and what maybe some mindset shifts that you'd had that made you really just go get it, that maybe we can give to them to make me maybe shift their brain and give them a data set to go, "Well, I could do this because it's really easy." It really is. It's not easy. It's simple. It does take work, but it's simple. And when you know what's on the other side, you'll do the work.
You have to see the future. You have to see the future in a way where I project. It's like the visionary thing. I have a vision in my mind that isn't even established yet, but I know I can attain and reach. That I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'll figure it out as I grow to that level, to attain to that level. And a lot of people don't have big vision enough to see past that point, so they're always capped out in their head. But the separator is here. It's not your pockets or the people with money backing you or whatever. It's the mind that separates the growth you can take and how far you can take it.
How did you meet Anthony?
We bought the same course.
Oh, and you guys just met there, dude. Anthony is a beast, man. I can't wait to get Anthony on the show.
Yeah, we bought the same course. So everybody has their skill set, and so we were talking about the sometimes there's like crazy CEO, but he gets stuff done.
Yeah, that's
and
Anthony.
It gets stuff down. But like I've learned a lot from Anthony, because he's put me in rooms where I'm able to learn from high level people that operate in their own space. And I've met other people like myself that are integrators and action takers that all we need to do is like I'm type personality, like go that way and figure it out. That's me. Like I'll go that way and I'll lay the road and build the bicycle and we'll make it down the road eventually.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to get down there. As far as how fast, I don't know. But like I've learned and honed in skills over time that I built over time that have gotten me to this point. And I think this is where like you got to grow daily.
Yeah.
You got to grow daily into that person you want to become, because if you're complacent, you'll never get there, because you're like, oh, I've made $10 million a year. I'm just going to chill. You know, you got to be hungry.
Yeah. The moment you want a stress-free, courage-free future, you're giving the universe the sign to take its parts back. And so you really got to lock in, and it's continual growth no matter where you're at. What's your exit number, man? What is that number in your head where you're like, this is what I want?
It's not even about the money for me. It's about the impact. I think, based off of what I do and how I do it, I have a huge opportunity to impact the world in my own way. So a lot of what I do is the land that I acquire, I choose who I sell it to.
Yeah.
So there's a bigger mission to what we do as land acquisitions that I don't want to talk about much, but I prevent foreign entities from coming in and buying U.S. state land. Like I come in, I buy it, and I distribute it to the people I want to distribute it to that are going to do the right things with it. So they hold it, and they're operators on my behalf. This is how I see it.
You wouldn't sell it to BlackRock.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't sell it to BlackRock, 100%. But it's one of those things where like I control my own little corner of this giant pie, and however piece of that pie gets, I control that corner. Yeah. And that's my corner. Yeah. And there's hundreds of operators like me that control that little corner of the pie, and I'm okay with what I get, but we're all in it together to make sure we always doing the right thing and distribute it to the right people.
What's your favorite part of doing deals in business?
My favorite part, I like seeing the before and after part of it. And like I want to go do a video on that Florida property that I sold and hopefully see a house there. Yeah. Because literally what I do is I provide inventory to the marketplace that wasn't available because it was a big parcel of land. Yeah. It was 100 acres. No one can buy 100 acres. That's why I like what I do, because I make that 100 acres affordable to the everyday person, and I separate it and I parcel it out to the people that can afford it. Whereas not everybody can afford that large acreage. So I want to go back to that Florida lot, figure out where it's at, and hopefully see a house there and do a video about that. Like, you know, like I create opportunity in the marketplace where people can build and create housing and wealth and apartments, restaurants, and you never know. You know, it's not my job to create it. I'm just creating the inventory. The opportunity for somebody to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you could, it's hard to say one or two. Give me a few books or a couple books or your opinion on books that have really helped you grow and really get after it in business.
I'm not a reader. I'm not a reader at all. And I always laugh about this because I've learned so much from books, but it's based off of other people's like secondhand knowledge. Yeah. So I always say, like, if you're not a reader, join a book club because they'll break it down for you.
Yeah. You just need the info. You don't need to be reading.
And like I don't need to read the book. Like I mean, it's bad, but like I don't read books. I mean, I have books. I bought books. I have books that I've read up to page 10, and I'm like, I can't even get past page 11. And it's like really like knowledgeable books, but I'm just like, I can't. Like I'm ADD or something. I don't know. I can't.
You learn in it. You learn in doing the business, not the books.
Yeah, I'll tell that. I'll join that book. Like, oh, we're covering this book. Okay, well, when you covering that book, I'm joining the call, because then, like, oh, what did you guys learn? And I'm like, all right, this is amazing. Good job, guys. Thanks for breaking it down for me.
Who's like your favorite business person or a business person you really look up to, where you're like, I maybe model that guy or some of that sort?
I like, I'm a big fan of Elon because I feel like he's
a beast, man. I hated on him for a long time, but you can't hate on him.
I feel like he's literally like the epitome of an entrepreneur because he's creating the future that he wants to see. Yeah. And I think that's us as entrepreneurs. That's the all in all goal is like, yeah, we do this for money sometimes, but when you get to a certain point, you create the future you want to see. Yeah. Like people were making fun of him for buying Twitter, but I mean, you got $1 billion and you want to make Twitter a better place in your own eyes, and that's your own opinion, whatever that looks like. Do whatever you want to do. It is what it is. And people are like, oh, Twitter's worth $20 billion now, and he bought it for 40. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
He ain't losing sleep over
He
it.
good.
He ain't losing sleep over it. I mean, he make that over a windfall on Tesla stock. You know, so it's one of the things where you as an entrepreneur, you create what you want to see in the world, and getting to a point where you want to do that, and you find your passion and what you really love doing, and just dig in, man, because your gift that God gave you is what you harness that and you amplify that through OPM, and you produce whatever that is and take it to scale.
By the way, Elon got into it with M&A. He bought Tesla. It wasn't like he built Tesla.
Yeah.
He bought it and then grew it. So buying a business is like jumping in the middle of a marathon without starting from the beginning, and then being able to run fast or do what you got to do, going from there. What drives you, man? I was talking about how this girl who bought a $20 million business with OPM with none of her money on the seller's note. She had this rule that when someone responded to her via email, text, or whatever, a lead came back, she will respond within 15 minutes, no matter what time of the day it was. And I was like, you were like, wow, that's crazy. And I was like, no, that's you. Because whenever I text you, call, and everyone who was at the Hive Mind event said it was the same thing. You're always just locked in. What drives you and what motivates you to have that level of energy?
It's being locked in with the right people. I'm not like that with everybody. Some people are like, and it's kind of funny, but as you grow, like I hate, like I have like a anxiety when I see Anthony's phone, because Anthony's phone, he's been an entrepreneur for 15 years. He has a lot of connections and people in his phone. He's like 300,000 unread emails and 1,000 unread texts, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. Like, don't stop sharing your screen with your phone. Like, get away from me.
Yeah.
And then like me, I got like 30 emails unread, and I got like 50 text messages, and I'm like,
so much better.
This is like it's only gonna get worse, and I'm like, oh man. But like, it's people the right people have your phone number, and I'm always like, I talked to one of my clients yesterday, and I literally told him this yesterday. He's like, I really appreciate that you answer the phone whenever I call. I was like, well, the reason why I answer the phone is because you've been with me since I started, and you operate in two of my businesses that I operate. So you got loyalty points, and I answer the phone whenever you call, whatever you need. I'm here for your assistance. Yeah. I don't answer the phone for everybody. And he's like, I really appreciate that. I was like, I mean, you've earned it. I mean, I would not be here without hundreds of customers like him that helped carry me to this point where I'm at now. So I'm like, hey, I at least owe him to answer the phone. Yeah, it is what it is. But it's different for everybody. But you have to focus on what's important. I've kind of like backed in like my appointments and what I schedule, just because my kids are growing up. I want to spend more time with my kids, and I do want to work out, so I'm gonna have to scale back a little bit more and start focusing on my health a little bit more. But there's a lot of things that move and happen. And like I've seen my kids. Like I started entrepreneurship when my daughter was born. So I've seen my kids. I've been an entrepreneur since my daughter she's turning 6 this year. So I'm just like, it's just crazy to see how much has happened since I've been on this journey, and how much I've grown internally as a whole. But it's just interesting to see like the what really drives me is like, hey, there's a brighter future ahead. I know where I'm going. I know how I'm going to get there. It's just time. Time's on my side.
Yeah. If you could have dinner with anyone who's ever lived in history, who would it be and why? What are you asking them?
Dinner with somebody, man.
This changes for me all the time. Sometimes it's Jesus. Sometimes it's King Tut. Sometimes it's Lao Tzu.
I always this is I think of like Julius Caesar, like those like mighty conquerors that they controlled a large portion of the known world all at once. Like, how do you coordinate and control that many people? Not that I want to control people at all, but like, how do you organize that? Yeah. Like, what does that look like, especially in that day and age without a cell phone? Yeah. Like, how do you keep people? That's funny. I had to keep people in line, but like,
like the Genghis Khans. I read
through
something.
fear.
I read something crazy. Like 1 in every 100 men are direct descendants of Genghis Khan because he like took over so much of the world and had so many kids. It's
Yep.
like, and those dudes' genes are still out here, like that conqueror gene. These people are probably what BlackRock's leaders are. These weird dudes with that gene that feel like they got to conquer and take care of many people. But you talked about impact, and that's what I want to do too. For me, it's the status and the impact. Like I want to inspire 1 billion people. What kind of impact do you want to leave? What do you want people to say about Daniel or about Hive Mind when all this is done?
Um, I don't think I care. I don't care what they say. As a whole, I just know that everybody can deep down say like, "Hey, that guy taught me something," and I use that little sliver in my life. So, I don't necessarily want them to get like all my the next Daniel Martinez. Like, I don't want that. I just want to pick up one thing that can change your life and carry it with you forever. Because that's all. That's the true things that really impact generations. Because if I can impact an adult and he has kids and he teaches that trait to his kids, and now it lives on for generations, and no one even knows where it came from, but it was something that dad taught me. Who knows?
All right, tomorrow you woke up, money's gone, everything's gone. Money's gone, connections gone, but you know everything that you still know today. What steps do you take exactly to build your business back? And be specific as possible.
Take your knowledge and you go start raising money. Money is the fuel to the fire behind every business acquisition. So you just start asking for money, and it's like the beggar type. Like every time I say asking for money, everybody's like, "Oh, he's a beggar. He's a beggar." Like, no, I have the knowledge and information to produce an outcome with your capital. Let me use your capital to accelerate it and amplify it, and you just watch me work.
Without a vision, people perish, but without money, the vision perishes. So that's totally huge. That's totally huge. Um, I wanted to ask you when you started the Hive, and you're building all the businesses, doing the content, doing everything. What was it, or when was that moment when you knew I got something? Because a lot of times you jump in a business, you test, you scrap it. You jump in another business, you test, you scrap it. When did you know? Because when I first saw Hive Mind, I was like, damn, these dudes got a $1 billion CRM. This is crazy. It does everything. You don't even need all the other crap. You can go from website to everything right here. But when was it when you knew, like, yo, we got something crazy?
Um, it changes a lot, man. Business ebbs and flows, man. There was a point where like, man, this is amazing, and then like it's not amazing anymore.
Ups and downs.
It's ups and downs of business.
Yeah.
I don't even. It's one of those things where like you have to. There's a video on Ice Cube said, he's like, if you're not willing to put 5 years into it without making $1, don't start it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, they want instant success. And there's entrepreneurs that get it. There is entrepreneurs that get instant success, and more power to them. But it's not. That doesn't happen for everybody. It takes years of effort and work to get to where you want to be. And like even me having this conversation, I've been doing this for 6 years. Like I started this when I was 25. I'm 31 now. I've been doing this for a long time. There's a lot of effort. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of hours that went into what you see here today and what you see in the future. There's a lot of hours that went into that.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to put in the time and effort and consistency over years, don't start.
Don't start. Don't do it.
Don't start. There's a old folk tale, whatever, is like don't count your success in years, count it in decades.
That's huge. That's huge. Continuity. So how do you stay consistent? Because I got friends who are so good at speaking at this, but they can't stay consistent. And I talk my shit and I tell people I'm gonna beat them, and I'm gonna beat them. And at the end of the day, The reason why I could beat you is because I have the strongest power known to man, which is attrition. I'm gonna beat you through attrition. I'm gonna do this every fucking day. And you can't. And I know you can't. And I'm gonna go to this gym every day. I'm gonna do Legion every day. How do you stay consistent every single day like that?
Um, I like having my calendar semi-booked because I gotta show up to work every day.
Mm.
I get phone calls every day, and, like, my wife hates it. She hates it. She's like, "Why don't you take a day off?"
Like
I'm
the
like
money though.
I'm like, it keeps me on my toes, like, if someone ain't calling me, I ain't making no money.
Money.
So, like, it's like a love-hate relationship, and I'm trying to do better with it, but I like the activity of being active
Yeah.
because it shows that there's action being happening. Like, if your phone ain't ringing, you got bigger problems.
A deal rut. That's the only failure in business is a deal rut. And you're in a deal rut if you ain't on the phone, if you're not communicating, if you're not doing shit.
So, get your phone ringing some way, shape, or form, and that keeps you active, and it forces you to show up. It forces you to produce. It forces you to contribute. Because if you're not contributing, and I think you have to be active, man. You have to be active in everything, man.
Be doing shit.
You got to be doing something because what kills people when they retire? Inactivity. Inactivity will kill you every time, and I've seen it happen through older family members. Inactivity kills you every time. So you got to stay active, even if you don't like it. You got to stay active,
Yeah.
and that means in health, that means in business, that means in everything. You got to stay active.
This is a question I wanted to ask because this is what I'm struggling with right now is how do you create those systems to constantly lead gen, constantly convert, constantly do reviews? How do you think about or go about setting up your SOPs so that it consistently gets done um, like it needs to be done?
Um, I've gotten better over time, and it's always a constant. If it has to be a constant point in your business to efficiently track and efficiently grow your business. It's something you adjust every day. You adjust it every day. Like, I get new ideas. I'm like, oh, I should do this, and I should do this, and I'm going to do this. Hey, I'll tell my team, hey, I need to do this. Can you guys do this and this for me? I get new ideas every day to make it better, and new things are created. And, like, I didn't have that idea. I didn't have the idea 2 years ago when I started it, and it's just like, hey, boom, let's implement this. Let's implement this idea. Let's implement this. Hey, when that person responds to this, let's reply to this.
Yeah.
And it's just implementing and automating. Like, I love HiveMind as a whole because I have the ability to create systems in my business that are now established.
Yeah.
And now the only component that I have to stay on is the people part.
Yeah.
So if I build up a follow-up system in the system, whether it's email or text or RVM or whatever, it's there and it just runs. There's no inefficiency. Now it's just managing the human side of it.
Yeah. So we got a few more minutes. I want to talk about ads real quick.
Yep.
What can you say about ads, ad strategies? Ads are inbound, right? And I know you have an ad guy. You spend, I don't know, upwards of 20, 30K of ads a month, putting ads out. But people who just want to know how can I implement ads and how does that work? Does it work? And is it hard? Kind of how do you think about it?
Ads are the growth formula to your business, just like capital is. Ads is the lead side of it.
Yeah.
So if your business is terrible and your phone ain't ringing, it's because you don't have enough marketing out there, and ads is the way. Ads is the way to do it. So think about this: McDonald's Super Bowl comes up. There's a McDonald's commercial.
Yeah.
You think McDonald's? They're on every street corner. They're on all this thing. Why are they still doing ads? They're spending millions of dollars in ads for TV ads and Super Bowl ads and billboard ads and online ads. Why are they still doing it if they already have such a brand in the marketplace? Is because if they turn off the ads and they turn on ad spend, their profitability and their income goes down.
Yeah.
Every time. So if you want to build a business, ads is the way to do it. Hormozy, I was talking about this. I read Hormozy's book. I did read Hormozy's book.
Man.
I did. That's one book. That's one book I read.
Both of them are really good.
I haven't read the $100 million leads yet, but I read the first one, $100 million offers. And that was a book I read through and through. And the reason why is because when I do get the opportunity to read, I can see through the lines because I have a marketing brain.
Yeah.
I have a marketing brain. So some people, if they're a sales guy, they might see the sales side of in that book. They might see the marketing side of that book. They might see the leadership side of that book. I saw the marketing side of that book, and I knew what he did, even though he never mentioned it.
Yeah.
So the way Hormozy built the gym launch was all through ads. He found struggling gyms that did not have leads, and he was the ads guy. He came in through acquisition and like, hey, let me acquire and boost your business, but I want equity.
Yep.
And that's how he did it. He
Genius.
boosted their business through ads. So you have the ability, and I think you're more of, are you sales, right?
I'm more of like just get you on the phone.
Sales and management.
Yeah.
Sales
And management.
Sales and management. So Roy here's sales and management. So he's leveraging his skill by sales and management to acquire businesses. So me, I'm marketing. So I'm going to leverage my marketing arm and systemization arm to leverage and acquire people's activity as a whole. And that's one of the things where you can really leverage your skill set and whatever that is that you might have built over time. Maybe you worked for a marketing company for 10 years and now you become an entrepreneur and you start a marketing business. You now have 10 years of experience that you learned on the job to grow a business in that niche because you have on the job experience that you can leverage.
Yeah.
Because that's firsthand knowledge.
Yeah. It's funny you talking about Hormozy because now that you have a certain set of knowledge, if you can systemizing your brain how you think about something, you can use AI to get it done right away.
100%.
So there is a website called Snack Prompts. Again, that's Snack Prompts, and there's a Hormozy prompt in there where you just literally type in your business, what you sell, and all of your targets, and then it spits out an offer with everything you need based on his book.
That's funny.
Right?
I
So
love that. And there's some data nerd behind that that's probably
that's
monetizing
doing all
that.
of that stuff, man. And it's like, because at the end of the day, with AI and with AI, you could do anything now. Like how he said you want to lead gen and call, and now I can send 1,000 emails a day, like without even doing nothing. As we're sitting here, the damn AI system is sending out emails, and then I just have to follow up. So there's really no excuses nowadays. But my question before my last question is,
I got an update for you. We might be able to help you with your AI follow up. Working on that.
okay. All right.
So it's not even you anymore. Go ahead.
So now I don't even have to talk to the people when they email me back. Just AI could talk to them based on there it is. Well, there's my question: is AI going to take over the world?
I think it will. I mean, not take over.
Not the Terminator.
Not the Terminator type AI. And I don't know if it might happen in our kids' generations, our grandkids' generations. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the future looks like. Technology has advanced from 99 to today has been insane. The last 24 years of my life, I've
Moore's
seen
law.
it's been amplification has been insane. So I don't know what the next 20 years looks like, but I know there'll be more businesses leveraging AI because I feel like businesses are already leveraging, like me and you already leveraging AI in the simplest form, but it's only going to get better. So I don't know. It's going to affect a lot of different businesses. I don't know to what aspect. So maybe somebody would create it. This is where I love businesses won't grow in people. They'll grow in how much money can you grow with less people? Because I think like Snapchat and even like OnlyFans, they have like sub 100 employees and they're making billions of dollars with sub 100 employees. So it's not going to be like the amplification of like how much money can you make with so little employees.
Yeah, systems, man. The quality of our life isn't based on the answers we have. It's based on the questions we ask. So what question didn't I ask you that you think could really help everyone, and then answer that question?
That is a good man. I don't know.
Because you don't know if you don't know. If you don't even know that you don't know even know what question to ask. Or what's a gem you could leave them with?
Start a podcast. I know we didn't even talk about this, but start a podcast.
You're a media company. If you do business, you're a media company.
Start a podcast. And I've learned so. Hive with Us podcast, hivewithus.com. Go check it out. I have 430 episodes up right now. But I've learned so much from my guest. It has made me smarter. It's made me think differently.
You become friends with high-level people.
I've become friends with high-level people. I've invited them to speak at my event. We've had dinners and even more conversations beyond that. There's so much leverage you get when you start a podcast. And I've said this on my podcast. The podcast was for me. You listen to it. I'm sorry.
He's like, that's my coaching session.
That's my coaching session, and it's a one-on-one. You just have to fly on the wall. I'm sorry. So I've learned so much from podcasting. It has been insane. I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I could not tell you the amount of things I've learned. And I don't think I would be here right now without podcasting. 100%.
A guy charges $100,000 for an hour for coaching. You get that for free if you have him on your podcast.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Go start a podcast. I think that's the biggest gem that I've learned over the last 2 years. And like creative finance, I think is a huge one. But I wouldn't learn creative finance if I didn't talk to people. So go talk to people, learn what they know, dig into conversations, ask great questions, and go produce content.
Where can they find you, man?
I'm Daniel HiveMind on all platforms. My business is HiveMindCRM.io. I have the Hive With Us podcast, $1,000,000landmastermind.com. I got a bunch of stuff. If you find me, just follow the white rabbit.
That's good. And you would help them find deals, right?
Yeah, we'll help you find deals.
Whatever
Whatever you need, I got you.
That was really good, the white rabbit thing. I'm literally going to your website and looking for a white rabbit now.
Well, me and Anthony make a joke about because Hive Mind's kind of like a scientific sci-fi, Star Trek-y type term. So we always equate it to the Matrix, which is follow the white rabbit. So it's just an analogy that if you follow the lead path that is presented in front of you, you end up where you want to be. Yeah. And that's all a funnel is. So if you go down the funnel, you'll get in touch of something. And it's so crazy too, because this is so funny because I have so many like leads that come in organically because they follow the white rabbit, and the white rabbit is whatever they're looking for, but it appears in front of them if they find it.
Yeah. There it is. There, Daniel. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time. You guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the comment button, hit the share button, do all of that. Reach out to Daniel. Don't just sit here and listen to the podcast. Take action. Get his course. Get his free course. He literally has a $1 course to show you how to make $100,000, thousands of dollars, even $1 million on a land deal, depending on that lead that you get. So take action. Don't bullshit. Thank you again for watching. Till next time, always remember to be yourself.